explicit language and graphic images. What feelings and or reactions did you have while viewing it? What scenes and images in the film stand out for you? Why did these stand out? How do they relate to your life? How did the film affect you? In that sense, how does it compare to Forged by Fire and This Boy's Life?
The situation in Precious that stood out to me the most, it doesn't really relate to me at all, but the scene where the lady for the welfare checks came over and she had the little baby and the wig and all that, and then how as soon as that lady left, she tossed the baby on the ground, threw the wig, and went right back to the bad life that she had before. And I don't know, it just stood out to me because there's a lot more than meets the eye for something like that.
I felt like the one scene that that hurt me the most was like when Precious's mom like threw a TV at her after she had the baby. She came home. She was like running down the stairs, and her mom threw a TV at her and the baby. That just I don't know, made me sad because no one should be treated like that. And now you're like trying to hurt this innocent baby that didn't do anything to you or anyone else.
Well, that movie makes me cry like every time I watch it, so it was rough. But I think the images that stood out the most for me, like every time I watch it, I think like my mind always goes back to like when she has like those little fantasies. Like every time something bad's happening to her, she like goes off to another place, and like I can relate to that in sort of a more mild way. Like if something bad's going on in my life, like I kind of try to separate myself from that. So like instead of like worrying about it, I try and like go off and do something else, which is kind of what she does. Like when her mom was telling her like her dad died from AIDS, like she goes off into like this fantasy or whatever, and then like I don't know.
A scene that stuck out for me was when Precious was at the top of the stairs and her mom was at the bottom, and she was just saying all those awful things to her, and I just like can't imagine like my mom ever saying those things to me, because that would just make me feel awful. And I feel like Precious like may have had some doubt, but I feel like if I was in that situation, I would probably like just give up. But I felt she was really strong. And then another scene that stuck out was when her dad was like raping her, and then you could just see like the mom's face in the background. That just made me like feel like sick to my stomach.
I was really surprised how real the movie made every scene look. It really made me like realize that this actually happens, and it's not just like something that's happening in a movie. Like this happens all the time in real life, and it just really surprised me how like awful a person could really be.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and also going back to what Jake had mentioned, like you don't know, like the casual observer doesn't really know what's going on in one's life, because like there was one scene where Precious was in the classroom and her teacher came over and like was in front of her. She kneeled down. Precious just started bawling and like saying things like, "You don't know what it's like to be raped by like your mom's boyfriend or whatever, father, and this that, and what it's like to have a baby and all this, all this other like really hard stuff to deal with that a lot of us would never have to deal with at such a young age. And really you can't really know what's going on in one person's life until you like actually talk to them, because you never know, like somebody could like look like they're doing great and they leave school and they just miserable, whether financially or abuse and stuff like that. So.
And I think what makes it worse is how terrible Precious's mom was, and then she comes back towards the end of the movie and wants to be a part of Precious's life and the kids' lives.
Yeah, I think it's kind of ridiculous that like she's like, well, I love you, like all that kind of stuff, and just saying that like I want to be in your life again and that stuff. She's just saying like, well, I told him not to do it, and it's just like kind of ridiculous. So like, yeah, you told him that, but then you just sat there and let him do it. Like still, like I don't know, just like it just seems like I don't know. I got all the word, but it's just like there's no way to like make that okay. Like, you can get help. You can like I know it might be hard, like people would be scared and stuff, but like there's centers for help. It's I don't know.
Why weren't you there for her? Why wasn't she there for her? At the time of the.
Yeah.
She just did that just to get like the welfare checks, right? Yeah.
And I wasn't here for a lot of the movie, but that scene where she came in to the lady and she was like, well, he was my man and who's gonna love me and stuff, that's why I like did it and stuff for her. and I was just like what mother can like do that to their daughter and stuff? Like, she did not want that. Like, it was his fault and not her fault at all. And it's like never ever will be her fault and stuff. So it just made me like feel sick, like that. Her mom is just like blaming it on Precious.
Yeah, she's 3 years old, and the counseling office, the counselor asked Precious's mom whose fault it was, and she blames Precious.
I wasn't in any of this, but how would you guys like relate it back to Horse by Fire and this place? Like, is it like same abuse kind of stuff, or is it a whole different like?
One thing that I thought was like kind of differentiating from the two was Monique, originally, had custody over Gerald, and then he lived with Aunt Queen, but then Monique came back into his life. I thought that it was just a different theme, that Precious's mom was out of her life, but then like when she wanted to come back into her life, then they just went their separate ways. That's a theme that I thought was the main difference between the two.
I also thought it was interesting that all three of like the works, I guess, I don't know, like the two movies in the book, they all have like the adolescent as like the protagonist, and then they all have some like problem they're struggling with, and they have like shortcomings to begin with, and they have obstacles, and it's just like, I think it's all three of them are kind of like a story of hope in a way. And I thought it was really interesting that all three of them had like a mother figure that was like really unstable, whether that be like financially or like she didn't treat them well, or she just kind of overlooked it. I just thought it was interesting that all three of those had like the mother was the one who was either like oblivious or unstable, and then the father figure was the one that was hurting them in the end.
Like going off of that, like kind of the whole like how each of them had like a mom that was unstable kind of thing. They also had like some adult that was that wasn't related to them, that like helped them out like a lot. Like Precious had that teacher, and then I guess in this boy's life it ended up being his mom who like helped him out of the situation, and then like in Forged by Fire, like it was Mr. Washington. So like they all had an adult type figure that was like there for them as like a support system when they didn't have anyone else.
Yeah, I agree with Megan. I think they're all a story of hope.
Another thing about Precious that stood out to me was like the fact that she struggled so much to read was something that like hits me really hard, because like I couldn't imagine my life like if I wasn't as literate as I am now. Like I would struggle so hard in school. Like the first thing they taught them was like the alphabet, which is like something like you can't even imagine not knowing. Like we could sing an alphabet song like in our sleep, and like they don't even know it. So